Hey, it's Ken, and this is day 7 of the 90-day challenge that I took up at the instigation of Kyle Cease that I've told you about. And in any case, I got to tell you, what began as a challenge is becoming something I actually look forward to now, and it's becoming a pleasure. There are things that I have done before that I do now with a different kind of attention that I'm paying because I think in terms of at some point today I've got to create a video, and so I start to look toward it and anticipate it and manage to arrange to fit it in. And as I've said before, it's sparking a certain kind of creativity. So I'm enjoying this, and here's one of the things that I've been reflecting on. It's really small things that make our life more enjoyable. It's something I actually learned the first time I traveled in Europe. I began to notice because I traveled a lot by car the first time I was in Europe. I noticed that people who were driving long distances in cars would pull out on the side of the road at the middle of the day, and they would then remove from their small trunk in their small car a little folding table that they would set up, and they would set up chairs, and they would put a tablecloth on it. And this happened so reliably. It was not just one thing that I saw and flukily that was what was going on. Repeatedly, I saw people then sit down with some kind of simple meal. Often it really was that loaf of bread and some cheese and a bottle of wine that you hear about, but they made an occasion out of eating. They made an occasion that had to do with sharing with each other, with experiencing that moment. And the journey itself became part of the pleasure, but also the rest on the way, along the way of the journey. And I'm recapturing part of that here. I know that what happened for me when I came back from that trip was that I began to eat meals at a table in a dining room, and I set up things much more formally. Food was not simply fueling, it was an occasion. And I have stayed with that forever. And now I'm noticing how, in miniature, I can create occasions by simply communicating in a different way, by making sure that when I connect with anyone, a clerk or whomever it might be, that I establish some kind of real rapport. And it's not an attention seeking thing for me. It's actually with the intention of breaking up their day, which can be monotonous, and giving them more pleasure, noticing something that they seem to be doing well, or simply being lighthearted and playful. And people are having a magnetic reaction to that. That's not new for me. But increasingly over the last few years, it's like, what does this all mean, this life that we have, if we aren't really ourselves and we aren't making contact with people, even if we don't know them well? So instead of joining the humdrum part of life and making my life humdrum and making it fit in, this 90-day challenge is becoming a pretext for saying, okay, now I introduce a camera to a particular part of my life, and I then share experiences that I'm having in this process. So I encourage you to consider what I'm saying. I think there's room for everybody to inject a little more humor and a little more play in your life, you, whomever you may be, whoever you are that's watching this. And so I'm looking forward to this as it continues, and I want to see how it evolves. It's interesting. If you go on YouTube, you find people doing all kinds of 90-day challenges. I haven't been that much of a YouTube follower that before. I certainly found videos that were enormously inspiring and so on. But anyway, this is my little journey of my own, and I'm finding interesting things occurring simply by fitting this process into my day, as I've mentioned before. Okay, talk to you tomorrow.